Hi guys, I'm Miss Werts,
I'm Miss Turnbull.
and we're back to talk about planners again. Now that you've been in your planners for 3 or 4 weeks, now we are ready to add to it a little bit. I hope it's been going well. All of our kids in our classes have been writing their homework in there every day. I hope teachers are keeping up with those planner points for you, and I hope at night when you go home you're really spending your time and looking in your planner so that you actually know what homework you wrote down, because it's not helpful unless you actually look at it.
Absolutely.
So today what we're going to do is everyone get your planners out. Teachers, if you could walk around the room and make sure everyone's participating in the video, that would probably be best. And the first thing that we want to do is turn in your planner to page 6, where we wrote our goals last time we watched the video. And that's right after we got our planner. We told you to choose 2 areas that you wanted to write a goal for. And we want you to look on page 6 and look at those 2 goals that you wrote. And we want you to think about, how did you do on your goal? Because goals are no good unless you reflect on them. And it's important to understand that you're not always going to reach your goals, but by setting the goals, you're moving in the right direction and you're holding yourself accountable. So don't be too down on yourself if you look at that goal and you're like, man, I didn't get it, because you don't always reach the goals. But it's important to set them so you know what you want and you know what you're working toward. So when you look at those 2 goals on page 6, we want you to look at the goals, and then if you look on page 7, you have an end of the month reflection part on the bottom of your page 7. And for your 2 goals that you wrote last month, we want you to, maybe in one sentence, it doesn't have to be a paragraph, but maybe in one sentence, write a little reflection about how you did and what you could have done differently, or if everything went great, what you want to keep on doing for this month. So teachers, we're going to take probably a 4 or 5 minute break here. If you could pause the video for about 4 minutes and set a timer for us. And students, we're looking for you to reflect on those 2 goals that you wrote on page 6. We're going to go on page 7 and write a 1 or 2 sentence reflection about those goals. All right, and we're back. Welcome back. I hope we did a lot of reflecting. And now we are going to turn to page 18 in your planner. And we want you to pick 2 new goals to set, and make sure that when you're writing your goals that you're being as specific as you can. Remember, we don't want words like better or more or some. We want to say, I will raise my grade by 5 points in algebra, or I will attend 2 tutorials every week in biology, or I will not have any zeros for the next 2 weeks in my classes. You know, something like that. We want to be specific, we want to be positive, and also it's important to be realistic. If you have a 62 in a class, or even a 72 at this point, I don't really think it's realistic in most classes to say that you want to have a 100, because let's be real, you're not going to have 100s in your classes unless maybe it's like an athletics class or a band class or something like that where you don't have daily grades. So let's not set ourselves up for failure by putting something on there that's unattainable. So when you write your goal, let's be real, and let's understand that, you know, this is not a sprint, it's a marathon. We have 9 weeks here, and let's go on page 18 and let's pick 2 areas that you want to work on, and let's write a new goal now. Teachers, if you'll pause the video for about 3 minutes. Thank you. All right, and we're back. Hope you had success in writing your goals, and I hope you chose things that were meaningful for you so that you'll really use this and work for it. And hopefully you're thinking about actions that you can be taking to reach those goals. You know, if you want to raise a grade, you most certainly can do that by going to block lunch tutorials, doing your homework,
Absolutely.
emailing the teacher when you're absent, holding yourself accountable when you do make a poor grade, and trying to do everything you can to recover from that and not giving up. You know, this is the time of the year where maybe you're doubting being in some of those pre-AP classes, or maybe you took a test and you didn't do so well. Don't give up. Things in life are going to get hard, and you're just going to have to refocus and visit with your teachers. Use your teachers. They're here to help you, and find out what you could have done or where you went wrong in your preparation for that test or in that essay or whatever.
Be proactive. Don't be afraid to talk to other people who are also struggling, and put together a study group. That's something that they do in college, and you might as well get in the habit of doing that.
Great ideas. So on page 18 in your planner, up at the top, we're going to add something for this month in your planner. And we always talk about motivational quotes and kind of things to think about. At the top of page 18, you have a place to write a motivational quote or something to just kind of inspire you. And Ms. Turnbull and I were looking at quotes and things that we've used in class in the past. And with regards to the planners and with regards to doing your homework and really planning what you want to do in classes, the quote that we want you to write down today is a quote from Ben Franklin, so rather old.
Yes.
And I think it kind of sums it up. But the quote that we want you to write is, by failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. So teachers, if you would write that on the board. Again, the quote that we're going to write at the top of page 18 is, by failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. And teachers, after you write that, let's give the kids a minute to make sure that that's written in the planner. And then as we're working on the next part, you can kind of walk around and make sure the kids are all on task. But really think about that. If you're not preparing for what you want and doing your homework and studying and going to practice and athletics, if that's one of your goals, and working hard all the time, then how can you expect anything else but to fail? If you don't fail, then you're lucky, and eventually that's going to catch up with you. So by using your planners and looking in them every night and doing your homework, you are preparing and hopefully preparing for success. So we want all of you guys to use these and keep them with you at all times. I saw a few planners in the Lost and Found this morning.
It's a sad thing.
It was super sad because they're both avid kids planners. Yeah, but we have those. So, but hopefully you all have your planners. Teachers, if they don't have their planners, please email Ms. Flores today. So just send a quick email and say, these kids didn't have their planners today.
Okay, students, so what I want you to do now is I want you to turn to page 20 in your planner, and that's where you should have started tracking your grades. You should have started tracking your grades in the second week, so you should have grades for weeks 2, 3, and 4. And after you have made sure that you have all your grades written down for each week, I want you to go to page 142. It's the last page in your planner. And what you'll see is you will see a progress chart. And this is where we would like you to start tracking your grades. Having these all together will help you see immediately whether you are declining in a class or whether you're coming up, and if you are meeting those academic goals that you have set for yourself. And so what we'd like you to do is from the second week, so your first entry is going to be from week 2. We want you to focus on your core classes. So here I've written English instead of reading. I'm also in algebra and history. So those are my 3 core classes. And we did not have you setting goals for this, so this part of the column can be left blank for the first 3 entries, which will be weeks 2, 3, and 4 of the grading period. So in English, I started out with a 100. Hopefully you all did also. I dropped down to a 92. I turned in some assignments, and I didn't quite stay perfect, but I'm working on bringing it back up. I have a 93 this week. My goal for next week is to have a 95 in English. We have a few things to turn in, and I'd really like to hit that A+ mark. Now, algebra is a little more challenging for me. I started with a 100. I dropped to an 82. I dropped again to an 81. I'm struggling a little bit. My goal is an 85 because I have to be reasonable and I have to know that I'm probably not going to jump 9 points in a week. So my goal is going to be 85. I'm hoping to do really well on my quiz this week and turn in all my homework and maybe even go to a tutorial to make sure I'm understanding all of the concepts. And so that's my goal for algebra. And then I also have history. I started with a 100, a 90, an 87, and I'm just not quite keeping up here. And history should be something where I do a little bit better because I really like to read, and I know that I can do well in history. So I'm really going to focus on bringing myself back up to a 90. And so maybe I need to attend some tutorials, maybe I need to study a little bit harder, take some Cornell notes, whatever I need to do. But I would like to have an A in history and in English. And that'll kind of help balance out that B that I'm going to carry in math, because for me, math is a little bit challenging. And so teachers, if you'll have your students, if you'll kind of watch and monitor and help them to fill out their progress chart, then that would be really great. We want to set our goal. And then students, after you mark your goals on the weekly page for next week, you'll come back here and fill in what your actual grade was. And then you'll go ahead and make a new goal for yourself, and you'll continue to go back and forth. And we'll be back in a few weeks to check in on you. And hopefully all of these grades will be going up instead of down, and you'll be taking care of your business.
All right, so now we're back. We hope that you got everything filled in your planner. I think that grade tracking system in the back of the planner that Ms. Turnbull talked to you about is going to really be a good tool. Hopefully you'll see your grades going up, but let's be real. If they don't and they go down, maybe you need to look at what happened that week. Maybe you were just having a bad week. Maybe, you were having to help out at home a lot and you couldn't study the way you wanted to. Or maybe you had lunch detention because you'd been tardy a couple of times and you couldn't go to tutoring. Just really be aware and kind of reflect on your week. So if your grades are going up, then reflect on what you did that made those grades go up. And if they're going down, then reflect on what that was as well, and try to pinpoint where you can make those changes so you can keep your grades going up.
Absolutely. And know that we are here for you. Whether you are our student or not, we are here for you. I'm in room 203. Mrs. Werts is in room 204. So if you are struggling and you want some help, someone to talk to, someone to help you make a plan, if you're just struggling to make a plan, then come and talk to us. Our doors are open. We're there, and we'd be glad to help you out.
And talk to your teachers. If science isn't going great, then visit with your science teacher. If math isn't going great, visit with your math teacher, and just tell your teachers that you want to be an A and B student or whatever it is, whatever your goal is, and tell them that, tell them what you're doing to prepare, and then maybe they can kind of help you and put you on the right path of preparation. Because maybe if you're studying for 2 hours a night and you're still not making the grades you want, then maybe you're not studying the right way or studying the right material. So your teachers can help you. They're pros. This is what we do.
Absolutely.
So hope you're using the planners, and have a great week. Have a great couple of weeks until we see you. Go Farmers, and plan
Much
away.
success.
Yeah.